Hi, this is me reaching out to the Bigfoot community. Without wasting time, let's get into the matter. Portals have become an interest in the research as of late. This is a scientific matter. On this video, I am accessing a deep woods section of Tampa. It is generally off limits to day hikers, but still not a forbidden area. I spent years of my life exploring the woods there. I always believed in UFOs, aliens, and the possibility of other dimensions. I did not expect that we would be, in 2023 and beyond, to be seeing it as commonplace as we do now. I wish to convey to you the amount of time and thought energy I put into the research and seeking. I think the veil between dimensions has lightened a bit since 2007, which was a transitory year. I used to wish to see UFOs in the woods and ultra-dimensional beings. Later on, I realized that I did in fact see them. There is a multiplicity of sightings, beings, and events that can only be explained through intense multidisciplinary study. So it is not so easy to just bring up one thing, such as seeing Native American spiritual shamans to seeing, cryptids or something, and explain one thing by itself, since it is mostly, all of these things are interconnected in our veil of physical realm. I need the viewer's help, and hopefully we can come up with some thoughtful discussions. Hopefully you can take me seriously. That is the first hurdle to online presence, especially in paranormals. For an example, I am not a dubious attention seeker online. My point here is to learn something. If one shares information online in a genuine, thought-provoking way, and interacts with others on the same wavelength, then in general the teacher-student relationship develops, and the teacher himself or herself gains knowledge. This specific footage being shown on this video leads to an actual alien base. Now this has been deduced since 2006. I do not think that this specific base is the typical Zeta Reticulans. I think it may be Arcturans or some kind of insectoids. Now, I'd like to interject and tell you that the key to understanding all of this stuff is that there are different densities, that we are third density, and some of these other beings do not have to live by those density laws. Just like some of the animals, or most of the animals, may be second density, and the plant and mineral kingdom may be first density. This specific footage being shown, it actually does lead there to an alien base, and I covered it in another video. I could go in great detail about the dimensional qualities of the landmass known as Florida, and why there are so many various alien entities working alongside the humans here. That is another discussion. I am not deceived. I realize that in general the aliens are malevolent. I do not believe that they are in general benevolent, but there are some soul beings that are not human. I have seen good aliens, ones that are somewhat benign in their craft, and this is almost on the second encounter of the second kind in St. Petersburg, Florida, but shortly thereafter I was severely haunted by the malevolent greys, and then they try to make you believe that the good ones you see are them, and it causes the confusion, and this is where the occult comes in. I personally know these spots. I could tell you probably 20 different spots where they are doing various activities. And if you were to seek them, I could point you in that direction. Good luck to you. But actually, I wouldn't mind to tell anybody where they are. Just not over the online world. However, just contact me in real life. However, there is an occult connection to everything extra-dimensional. And there are certain human/subhuman agencies working to prosper their envelope towards manipulating destinies and ties with various alien beings. Yes, they prosper themselves temporarily, but in the ultimate judgment of the world and earth, they fail miserably. Thus, we are not working toward that agenda. And thus, it is also wise to not disclose pertinent data. For one, they will never come out and ask you for the data directly, but are only able to seduce it out of you by hypnotic suggestion and or other psychological means. But they are overall failing miserably at that. Portal activity is not something that can be logically defined. Maybe it exists, but we are not harnessing exact knowledge of how it exists. Here's what I want to know. Why is the current obsession mostly over Bigfoot portals? I have reason to believe, and with good amounts of philosophy to back it up, that a portal exists which leads to another parallel Earth. I've had many, many dreams about this area. Okay, so at first I thought the dreams were sentimental. Since I hiked through this area countless times and developed my imagination there, I thought the dreams were mirroring this experience and developing it into something more grandiose. But now I have enough soundness in my spirit to recognize that the dreams are indeed showing me that there are a few spots in Tampa that lead to a parallel Earth. From the historical documents, it is shown that anyone entering into these pathways will either A, never come back, and B, if they do come back, it will be years upon years in the future, thus displacing them further as if they were dead. So they do come back, but it's 75, 100 years later, and they were only there 10 minutes. It's quite disturbing. And it has been documented, I think I have pinpointed the general locale of this portal that leads to another parallel world, parallel Earth. So I have the general location of this place. I do not exactly know where it is. I have not been able to access out there to search it out, and it is not on my top things to do. However, it is a curiosity, and if other people are able to contribute to the discussion, then maybe there's something to it. I don't know yet. It is not the location in this footage that you are seeing. This footage is a pathway to a dangerous alien base. Not only is it risky for reasons of bobcats and, the typical wildlife, plus various cryptid activity, it is isolated and untrodden. I featured this area on another video from when I ventured there in 2006. There were aliens in the pictures. I did not intend to see aliens or cryptids back then. In 2006, the information was not extensive like it is now. There is a weird structure out there. You can see it in the video. It's like a metallic tree. That's a sign of a base. You can't access it by foot. The Google Earth images are incorrect. They only have three-dimensional pictures. That's not enough. You can walk into a place that's not on Google Earth, and you won't even, it's not even a big deal. There's things being filmed on Google Earth that has nothing to do with it. The more you look on that satellite picture, and you go and look over there was no footpath. I went there, and I had to use a raft. It's very difficult, and there's 100 alligators out there, etc., but that's the least of your worries. If you're a woodsman and you've experienced the woods and you've hiked off trail in Florida and you've seen alligators up close and rattlesnakes, That's not the issue. We're talking cryptids and other things going on. The satellite picture is extremely bizarre. I know that the satellites cannot detect multiple dimensions. Do not be black and white about what Google Earth can reveal if there are multiple dimensions at play. This is a recent development in my thinking, thanks to the amount of research going on right now. And I've also been part of the people that originated the stuff that's going on now. This is, you don't have to get credit for everything you do. That's only for these people that are fly-by-night, etc., etc., personality pusher, ego-based individuals. Since I know these woods like the back of my hand, and not to mention hiking off trail in Florida backwoods requires a bit of experience. I mean, it does. Okay? But that's the beginning. Okay, there's places you cannot walk. There are rattlesnake pits that you cannot walk through. There is not a grown man that I can contact that wants to do it. And I'm pretty exciting. I like to do crazy shit. But I have not contacted a single adult male that wants to do this. And there's places where you can walk that's 100% dangerous. And it's right out of the park. But they haven't been walked in who knows how long, because there's places where there's extensive Indian artifacts. And then right across the place, within a mile, there's nothing. No Indian artifacts at all. They didn't go to some spots. They didn't go to all these woods. Maybe they didn't have to, but I think they knew why to avoid certain spots. Because they had medicine men, seers, shamans. They knew. So let's go and see. I do know where, and that for a fact there are quite a few Bigfoot in that area. There was an ancient native presence in these places as well. I do not want low-level individuals exploiting these things for themselves. The amount of work involved is a deterrent to these people who are looking for a quick thrill of digging up old graves or tool sites or flint factories and or otherwise settlements that most likely have escaped the official archaeological or archaeologists, because they do not take an activated view at the world around us, and are state-run propagandists who pick and choose archaeological digs for funding requirements and not to actually be closer to the land and history. They don't care. They could do this for the rest of the world's history. If archaeology was about attaching themselves to the land and truly learning about history, no, we don't have to go there. So my question at this point then to discuss is that if I find the portal to the parallel world, can I just go near it? Can I just go in it a little bit? Because I know it goes way, 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 way far, 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 far. And there's a certain kind of energy there associated with it. I don't know if there's signs or pointing to it or anything like that. I don't know. That's why I'm discussing it on here. If you could see the dreams I've had repeatedly over the past 12 years about this place, it is very remarkable. It is as if the trails never end. There are tree houses, trails, places, all these exciting things that are kind of like an extension of that place, almost like back in time. And it sounds fantastical. I've been labeled as crazy my whole life by individuals, but it was all just gaslighting attempts created by low IQ, uninspired societal people on the verge of extinction, and they have nowhere else to turn. because original individuals or soul humans that are connected to Source, they're going to be labeled as this and that, degenerate, crazy, sex crazed, or whatever. For one, not many people want to go off trail into this area. Even grown men do not care to do it. I've asked several male friends to do so, and people I don't know. They could have a pistol or no pistol. That is not the point. It is a serious woodsman mentality and awareness on the level of psychic awareness that is necessary to appreciate the various hazards in leaving behind the safety of a man-made hiking area. I can tell you from example that this place in the video has an otherworldly quality. If you look into the sky back in those areas on this video, it appears ancient and calm and has a very bizarre feeling back there. When I was first going out to these woods, I was with a friend from college. So I was kind of new to woods hiking. And we were on bicycle. And this was my friend from USF Tampa. And his last name was Gilbert, just like mine. So we made friends. We ventured off the trail, just a few minutes off the trail. And it was on the other side of where this video is. We ended up getting lost in the palmetto thicket for probably about 2+ hours. It had to be due to portal activity. It was very bizarre. And now I know that that's the truth. It was so disheartening to be lost like that. Granted, I was not as experienced in the hiking back then. But now looking back, it all makes sense. There was no way you could get lost like that. I remember there was a spot in the woods that had a kind of, had this look to it like, oh, here's another section. Let's go into that section. So it kind of looked, I could draw it, but it's kind of like it has a house, if that makes sense. Like, oh, here's this back part. It's like a deep woods, but if you go back to this side, like people don't go back in there. But it's multidimensional. That's the only thing that adds up. So, I mean, I've had a dream that showed very vivid. I thought it was a real memory. It was so vivid that there was a house back in this woods. There's no house, and it had lights on. But now I think it's the elf man's house. I've seen him twice. It wasn't very obvious he was an elf man or interdimensional. They don't want you to think that's what they are, because they wouldn't want to venture into this realm. Like, they can see us, but we can't see them in their realm, but they can see our realm. So maybe we're a little bit lower density than them, but in this world of shadows, it is not expedient to focus on one thing. So we're not chasing after something. We need a rationale or purpose behind these researches. I do not find Bigfoot to be something to be sought after. Personally, I don't get excited over Bigfoot. I don't personally want to see him. I know they live in the parks around here, even in the city parks. I know they're probably fifth density, or they're living in the spatial realms in between Earth and space. That they're hybrids of Nephilim with ancient man that was pre-Adamic humanoid apes and or other DNA, and that they have certain powers. And to me, they're definitely aliens. In my work with the tarot, they're aliens. It's not a big deal. It's exciting to see them, but seeking it out is not in my game plan so much. I've heard of a centaur sighting from a first-hand friend that knew a woman that saw one in Alabama. So that's another variety of hybridized Nephilim. I personally saw an interdimensional elf man I was just talking about. He didn't look that scary. He had a flannel shirt. He had a little bit of pointy ears. He was about 4'6". He had baby pigs walking with him out in the woods there. I'm pretty sure it's interdimensional there. I've heard, I was out there at night before, smoking some weed, and We shouldn't have been out there. The park was closed. You can hear screaming in the woods out there. It's crazy. You wouldn't want to be out there. Just take my word on it. It's like a house to somebody else. It's not your house. So it's the cryptids and multidimensional beings let you see them, but cloak your perceptions. So they want you to think it's something every day and commonplace. So the 9 out of 10 people will never question them. However, with occult perceptions, beyond the veil of nature of our material realm and mathematical reasoning, so you put 1 and 1 together and you equals 2. You're very clear about what's reasonable. It has nothing to do with these wishy-washy thoughts with the New Age movement. Some of it started out good, but this is mathematical reasoning. You will be able to comprehend the difference between hoaxes and genuine paranormal. Paranormal in classical linguistic only indicates preternatural. So preter, like something that was formed in the preternatural realms, in the realms of the astral and the mind and the etheric. In my estimation, the Bigfoot are hybrids of a previous non-Adamic humanoid race and aliens. I know that they are aliens hiding in the bushes. I have enough first-hand accounts from people I know directly, and not all good ones, that are mind-blowing in the region of this Tampa Bay area in Pasco County, Florida, that would satisfy any curious seeker. A close encounter with a malevolent Bigfoot in Florida does not do anything but wreak psychical havoc on the experiencer. What the ancients called Nephilim are similar to what we call aliens, something that is a being from space. Have you noticed the Bigfoot do not cast shadows? They may be able to manifest physically, just like various aliens can do at times. What if some or most of the dogmen are infernal beings using portals to come up from the infernal realms? It's probable that they are. The issue I'm facing with that is the East-West conundrum of metaphysics, where the Buddhists and what we call Aryans or Indo-Europeans of ancient times had entire doctrines for all the various devas and beings of the universe. And if the sightings and research line up with the doctrines, why is it necessary to seek further consort with Bigfoot or other beings? I am not sure that these interactions will lead to higher wisdom at all. Human beings, as we are created, have potential for a higher self and soul. But it seems that the aliens mostly are concerned with hybridization with soul humans for their survival. I want to be able to explore the possibility that I am right and that there is a parallel world in an ancient Indian area. Maybe the American Indians knew of it. They go back very far, farther than the textbooks say. Now, the spot that I know of, I don't think they were there pre-18,000. And yes, they had 9-foot Indians. They believed in nature. They believed in magic, in their true religion of nature. They did all their prayers towards nature. Very mystical. Most likely they did, but they may have had cautions about going towards it. Maybe they did not, some of their kinfolk went into it, and then from that point on they had folklore that told them to stay away from there. Or maybe they were living near it to protect it. We don't know. I must tell you that some woods have strong elemental and nostalgic energies, while other woods seem to be simply trees and wind without these strong nature spirits. Like, you can go to some places and you feel a deep nostalgic energy. Anywhere where the Native Americans were and they put their prayers into the earth, that energy is still there. Other places they didn't live. It's just a preserve area that was just there, but maybe they didn't even hunt there that much. They didn't go to every single spot. They had trails some of those trails are now our roads. And they didn't have to go to every single woods to live and subside in the way that they lived off of the earth. That is why I am convinced there is something there, and why all those years of my developing artistic life I spent there searching. Yet back then I had doubts the existence of these things, and I wanted to see them, but now that I've seen them, and experience them, I have no desire to seek for a certain thing. It has come to fruition that these things are not imaginary, and the Western people, as we all are Western, we're not mystics in the East, have gotten out of the boxed-in life of meat and potatoes and 9-to-5 living of the materialistic realm, that we can be free enough to enter into a new territory of reality. Well, there are hundreds of specific sightings, ranging from incubi to succubi, UFOs, skinwalkers, reptilians, out in Arizona or wherever. It is not essential to seek those specific phenomena, because the realm of forms is illusionary, but to seek the wisdom of total understanding of all phenomena and its essential mathematical reduction, and relate that to our being. Most likely, all of the American ancient wisdom of the native shamans and medicine men has been lost to time and to religious persecutions. There is a record somewhere inside the mind of the world, also known as the Akashic record. Let's not get fanatical over that as well. That can begin to give us some light at the end of this tunnel, because if these Bigfoot and cryptids are reaching out to people, and granted the ones I ran into are definitely not, but up north and in other places they are more congenial to humans, then as in the law of call and response, there must be a guardian above who can lead us in the right direction. So who is the guardian of the Bigfoot? They're not under God. Why doesn't anybody ask them about what their beliefs are? Because, in my opinion, they're aliens, they're pre-Adamic humanoid hybrids with Nephilim DNA, just like many of the other cryptid beings, like the centaur. That is a factual sighting. That a woman of a friend of mine's saw a centaur. It ruined her life. And he was living in a shed. And this is just one of many. These people do not come out into public and speak about these things. It ruins your life. You're not supposed to see these monsters. They're aliens. They're not human. They're not earthly. And they can take on all kinds of forms. But who are they under? It's not God. It's not the universal law. It's not karma. So are they going to be judged in the last times with the various spirits, or are they going to have souls that? So you can see where that's going. So it's not going so well.